Hey, what's up, everyone? Kino here, and I'm back with a whole new reaction series. I have been reacting to the new episodes of Better Call Saul as they come out, and I'm gonna do the same with the new show House of the Dragon. As you can tell by my very authentic Westerosi crown. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge fan of the Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire series. I love the show for the most part. Definitely had my criticisms of the show, but I'm also a big fan of the books. Like, I actually have legit read the books and really got invested into the world and mythology of Song of Ice and Fire. Now, going into this House of the Dragon show, I was not super excited. Like, to be honest, I kind of forgot until like 9:30 that it was even coming out today. And I feel like that's like a common thing. Like, I don't see this show getting a whole lot of hype leading up to its release. And I think that's just because so many fans really, really hated the last season of Game of Thrones. Rightly so, in my mind. But it was interesting. I like I said, I think that the public has kind of almost deleted the series from their imagination, and they're not super interested. But hopefully, this will change some things, because I was really impressed with this pilot episode. I was worried about a number of things. I was worried that they were going to water the story down. I was worried that they were going to maybe they think the story is too complicated for the audience and really kind of make it simpler or simplify the characters, make them better people. Spoiler alert, kind of. I'm going to talk about the whole series because, the book's already written out. Basically, everyone in this story is awful, even like Rhaenyra. And I was worried that they're like, are you going to like actually show that? Or are you going to make them just like good people and the villains are all going to be just, complete villains that have no redeeming qualities? But of course, I don't know if they'll do that for the whole series or not. But from this episode, it felt like, okay, they're being genuine about who these characters are and genuine about the story. The premise of those of you who haven't watched it, I don't know why you're watching this if you haven't seen it, but the premise is that this series takes place like hundreds of years before the Game of Thrones show does. It's in a time where the Targaryens have dragons. Remember, all the dragons were dead by the time Game of Thrones rolled around. And they're at the height of their power, so to speak. The king, Viserys, not the crazy guy, but Viserys the First, he has no male child. He's got a daughter, Rhaenyra, but how it works in Westeros is the crown goes to the oldest male heir, which in this case is Viserys' brother, Damon. Now, Damon is, just like his name suggests, is a bad boy. He is called the Rogue Prince. He is kind of an asshole, very violent, very cool, so to speak, too. He's like a rogue, very much like a badass kind of guy. But is not, the noble lords of Westeros, for the most part, don't trust him. And so after, his newborn son dies, the king's newborn son dies and his wife dies, he decides to name Rhaenyra, his daughter, his heir, which has never happened before. Women have never stood in line for the throne, but this is the first time it's going to happen. But, we know that it's like people are going to challenge her. There's going to be wars fought over this, and it's not going to be simple. Now, I want to give this episode a lot of credit that it, like, I was worried that they're like going to be like explaining every single thing because it's with a new show, you want to explain everything, like, here's how this works and here's why this has happened, and like just be a giant lore dump. A lot of times shows don't trust the audience to follow along. For the most part, though, I felt like this was like, no, it expected you to kind of have some knowledge of the series, to kind of know some things. They do explain the major stuff, but they don't feel the need to basically be like, have to handhold the audience throughout everything. The audience will get it, especially if you're a book reader. I didn't feel like it was talking down to me at all. I was really impressed by that. It set the tone well that I think that the characters are going to be very complicated. You feel this very kind of sinister energy from Damon. He's obviously the rogue prince. Rhaenyra, not so much so, but again, she's young, I will talk about my continued worries for the show, where it could possibly go, but at least for this episode, I feel like, no, the characters feel real, they feel fleshed out, and it didn't feel, stupid, so to speak. What was interesting about this, too, is that from the very first episode, they're connecting it to Game of Thrones by saying that, like, all the kings of the Targaryen line are aware of the Long Night. They're aware of this coming apocalypse, and it's their duty to kind of prepare against it, which is not in the books, at least not that we know of so far. But there is a justification for this. Unlike the main Game of Thrones series, like the normal books, like a Game of Thrones, a Clash of Kings, a Storm of Swords, unlike those books, the two books that make up this series are number one, The Princess and the Queen, and number two, The Rogue Prince. And these are like fake history books. They're written by people in universe after the fact. So it's like a history professor writing down, like, in the year, 100, King Viserys did this. So it's not like we're actually seeing it unfold for ourselves. And the reason it's written that way is because it allows for historical inaccuracies. Basically, you're not meant to take the book as absolute fact. Like, the facts in question are disputed, just like real history. One source will say that this happened, another source will say that this happened. And so it gives the show a lot of leeway to be like, yeah, you didn't know about this. This wasn't in the history book because it was a secret amongst the Targaryens, which I thought was interesting. Now, will they actually answer the big questions, unlike Game of Thrones? We'll have to wait and see. But they do reference the prince that was promised, the long night, the coming apocalypse. What that will actually amount to is left open for question, but this is the series this is the book series that kind of hints at the Pact of Ice and Fire, the fact that a Targaryen was supposed to marry a Stark didn't happen, but I think we're going to see some of that stuff play out here. So the big questions that were left open at the end of Game of Thrones might get answered here in a roundabout kind of way. Now, the acting I thought was all great. A lot of the cast, I was like, were very kind of low key. I was impressed. Most of the time, they like to make their stars like these like really sexy, like eye popping, eye catching kind of actors. But for the most part, they all look very much like obviously attractive people, like they're actors. But they weren't like, here's my spotlight and make me look good kind of thing. It was like, oh, they just look like, low-key, nondescript people like real life would. Obviously, the one exception, of course, is Matt Smith as Damon Targaryen. I believe that's Matt Smith. But he's obviously great. I love him in a bunch of stuff. He's great in The Crown. Like I said, I thought the casting was all pretty great. Of course, there's the controversy people have about, the Black Valyrians. I don't know. It's not really an issue. They don't do anything with it to where you'd be like, oh, again, it's only the first episode. Who knows what they'll do? But, for the most part, it seems like it's just a casting choice and it's not going to really affect the story. Now, what do I worry about? I worry about the feminist angle. Now, don't get me wrong. The feminist argument that the show's making about the role of women and can a woman inherit the throne, that's in the books. That's legit. But I was worried from the trailers. They made it look like this is all the story's about. It's only about evil, misogynistic men trying to keep a woman off the throne, which is not the story of the Dance of the Dragons. It's part of it, but the story is much more complicated than that. The fact that Rhaenyra was denied the throne was not just, again, due to her being a woman. It was due to Otto Hightower wanting his grandson on the throne. It was due to Aegon Targaryen, who's yet to be, born on the show, fearing for his life, fearing that Rhaenyra would kill him. It's about Rhaenyra's descent. She becomes kind of like a Cersei or kind of like a Daenerys, where she goes a little bit crazy. We'll see if they do that. I worry if they won't, but we'll have to leave it open. So it's not just that angle. And from the trailers, they made it seem like such a big thing. From this episode, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the only thing they talk about is the woman thing. But it does seem like it's a part of it, but a justifiable part. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm not getting super invested into this yet until, we see the whole thing. But, because the last Game of Thrones show ended horribly. But for now, I thought it was really interesting. I thought, I'm glad to be back in this world. For what it's worth, it's just like, it's fun to be here. It's fun to see these characters. I'm going to enjoy watching this series. So, that's pretty much, everything I had to say for now. I'm debating what I'm going to do, if I'm going to, maybe I'll continue doing it like this, just in front of the camera, but it might be interesting to try actually watching it, in frame, recording myself actually watching it. Because I could pause it at times and talk about, elements from the books and stuff like that in a way that I couldn't really for Better Call Saul. So, maybe we'll do that moving forward. Who knows? But, for now, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next reaction coming soon.